It's round 3 and we're headed down under. That means Melbourne and Albert Park. The circuit is 5.278 kilometres in length, and the race itself takes place over 58 laps. Unsurprisingly, the last winner was a certain Max Verstappen. There are only 14 corners on the track itself, so it isn't actually that long, having had a bit of a rework recently. The circuit is a real blend of corners. Mostly it consists of medium to high speed, but there are a few slower speed corners and traction zones, especially in the final sector. Some teams, Mercedes being one, are struggling in the higher speed, but the Red Bull is good everywhere, so I don't see them having any weaknesses this weekend. Also, after the track changes that happened fairly recently, Melbourne now has 4 DRS zones. The pit straight, then down into turn 3, as well as between turns 8 and 9, and then right after the fast chicane, heading down into turn 11. Only 2 detection points though, and now that DRS is activated after 1 lap, it could be a way for the drivers to cling on to cars ahead for longer. The tyres available though are the softest in the range, so the C3 hard, the C4 medium, and the C5 soft. Like I mentioned, Mercedes really struggled in Jeddah, specifically in the high-speed sections. In fact, they were the second slowest team in those high-speed corners. And, well, there are some very similar corners at Melbourne. So it's going to be interesting to see if they've been able to make any progress on those issues. They claim to be doing experiments this weekend to get on top of their problems. And one of those experiments is supposedly going back to an old version of their floor, one that they tried or was on the car in testing. Then they introduced a new floor in Bahrain for the first race, and they're now wondering whether maybe something with that floor isn't quite right. They're going to potentially try and do a comparison between the two floors in Melbourne, maybe to see if there's a technical issue with that new floor. The fact that they are having to do these sorts of tests, though, and experiments is concerning in itself, because it's clear they're not confident in those upgrades and they're not confident in the data and the correlation. This word correlation, simulation, data, it's been a problem for Mercedes for a few years now. From what the team has been saying, though, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a quick fix. It might be slow going to get to the bottom of the issue as to why they can't extract the performance out of the car. But they still believe there's pace to be found in the car if they're able to unlock it. In fact, Lewis Hamilton actually spoke quite highly of the car before Melbourne. This is what he said. It's definitely not an evil sister of the previous cars or anything like that. I do think we have an amazing car. There's a lot of potential in it. We just haven't maximised it. Through setup, through, ultimately, mistakes. We're obviously not happy with the performance in those first couple of races, but I think there's a lot more potential in it that we haven't quite extracted yet. That's what everyone's focus is on. So maybe there is a little bit of hope down the line. Their main rivals, on the other hand, seem to have had a decent start. We know how good Red Bull are, but Ferrari looks strong. Again, I don't see them competing with Red Bull this weekend, especially considering Red Bull looks so much faster in Jeddah and race pace, really. And this circuit's going to be fairly similar in a lot of ways. I do think, though, in the upcoming races, we could see Ferrari stealing a pole position. But it's been like that for a few years, hasn't it, where Ferrari might sneak a pole position, but ultimately they can't hold that position in the race. Ferrari are due to bring big upgrades to Imola with apparently a new visual style to the car, which means maybe more sculpted side pods, different side pods. It's going to be quite a big upgrade. And they seem quietly confident in Ferrari that they can start to challenge Red Bull more as the season goes on. Carlos Sainz was sadly missing from Jeddah due to his appendicitis that he then had to have an operation on. But it does seem as though he will be fit and he will be racing this weekend. Oliver Behrman, who it has to be said did an incredible job on short notice to bring that Ferrari home in 7th place, will be on hand in Melbourne though. He is already present due to Formula 2. McLaren, well, they were strong, like I said, in the high-speed sections in Jeddah, so I'm expecting them to have a pretty strong weekend. Lando was really only down the pack because of the decision not to pit him under the safety car. They took a chance, just like with Lewis Hamilton, and ultimately that didn't work out. Piastri, on the other hand, though, finished P4. So that was a really good result for the team. Then Alonso, well, he also grabbed a 5th place for Aston Martin. They've had a bit of a slow start to the season. They're going to be hoping to improve as the season goes on. And I wonder if Kevin Magnussen is going to create another roadblock for Haas this weekend. It's caused quite a stir in the paddock with people having differing opinions on it. Of course, for the UK, it's a very early start. Now, I'm not going to be covering the practice sessions in a live stream this weekend. Tomorrow, though, after FP1 and FP2, there will be a video really just detailing what's happened during the practice sessions. There will be a live stream for qualifying. There will be a live stream for the race. Now I know it's early. I know it's early for everyone in the UK and Europe. If you're going to be watching the race, though, and you want some people to watch it with you, join the community. I will be live unless something drastic changes and my alarm doesn't go off. And hopefully we have a good race. Fingers crossed. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.